Welcome back to Tea Time. I have several friends here. We're going to be talking as a group about many a horror movie that we've seen. Think like Freddy vs. Jason and all that other stuff, but, actual good ones. I have with me today the illustrious Requiem, the king of Harry Potter right now, Dusk, and my good friend who is in school to learn how to do the video games, Psycho ADHD. Guys?
Nom nom nom.
So for the topic of conversation, I assume we're doing specifically movies.
Right, because me and
games and everything else.
it can be carte blanche, anything you want. Me and Dusk were talking about how overseas horror films tend to really make you sweat because there's not many jump scares in overseas horror movies.
They fuck you up in the head because they're more psychologically based.
True.
Precisely.
Maybe.
So, and Requiem was talking about some of her current favorite horror movies being
Hey,
Oh.
Psycho, you should
Old
turn your
people.
camera on there too, buddy. Join the
From
fun.
Germany.
right. Oh, right. This
we're
is
doing
also
cameras? Alright.
King,
Everyone is.
and this is also French Toast, who just got her mouth messed with.
Yep, so she's icing her face right now.
Aw. Hope you're
You
doing
know it feels
okay.
good.
Yeah.
Wait.
So we're actually talking about horror movies, Toast, and we're gonna put this on my channel. So, say hi. Yay!
I don't think she can say hi right now.
No, she
I
can
could-
speak.
She
I
can
can
speak.
speak.
She's just in pain. Her jaw popped out.
It's not even that my jaw popped out is why it hurts. I think it hurts from what she did specifically today.
More than likely.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
And up there in the very far corner is Minx. Minx is also an amazing person, but she's on mute because she's got little kids and talking to other people. So she's gonna wave, but that's
And a
about
half-naked husband wandering around in the back that she thought we didn't see.
That's just what I was like, muted.
It's true.
I saw you lift your elbow while I was on the phone. Don't think I didn't notice.
Nope.
A half-naked dragon running around in the background.
Playing God of War and relaxing on this day off.
Oh,
I'm
Psycho. I forgot to tell you. I forgot to
Relaxing,
tell you in
nice.
that text message that my dog
Oh,
took a shit
Jesus.
on my arm. I was in the car.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Speaking of
Yeah.
horror,
Speaking of horror, so I made a point to Dusk before you got here, Psycho, that American horror movies, and I'm going to put that in air quotes, horror movies, seem to rely a little bit too much on the guts and gore and how much, can we get away with before we have to give it an NC-17 rating. To which my response to always seeing them are, look, man, if you want to make your torture porn, that's a you and God thing. I don't care about it.
Okay,
But Psycho's
so
like,
if we're going off of this, there's like specific genres of horror, right? Obviously, you have your stereotypical serial killer who, has a machete, is pretty much immortal, will walk
slasher
around.
type.
And,
I
Yeah.
Jason, Freddy Krueger.
but there's
Michael
also
Myers.
a lot of
Ghostface.
horror
Ghostface.
movies and stuff like that involve with
Leatherface.
like
Mhm.
strangers, people that are stalking you and stuff like that. Like there's some that are based off of like
Like the Zodiac
Actual-
Killer.
yeah,
But
yeah,
even
like,
those, here's the point though. Even the ones that are the psychological thrillers like Strangers or Cabin in the Woods,
mhm.
it still ends up resorting to slasher-like mentality with blood, guts, and gore. There's very few, save for Get Out.
Ooh, Get
Yeah,
Out was
Get
good.
And Nope.
The only ones.
Nope. Nope
Well,
was...
Nope had a lot of blood in it.
But Nope had
Nope has
reasons
a lot
for the
of
blood.
but it based more on your fear of the unknown.
Right.
Okay.
True. It's also the type of fear that it's concentrating on.
I
For
have-
example, if you were go for like most thalassophobia based horror movies and stuff like that,
Yes,
like they have like
Lord,
those ones
it
that are
is.
like deep ocean fears and stuff like that, and you have like the people that are like seeing their mask cracking and of the deep depths and stuff. There's definitely like horror movies based off of thalassophobia
Like The
as
Abyss.
well.
The Abyss is technically not a horror film, but it does play off of that. What did I saw your hand, friend Toad?
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Is the Human Centipede considered a horror movie?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
psychological thriller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that definitely goes under the category of psychological.
Even though there's a
But-
lot of stuff in it that doesn't fall underneath that, the main story premise is psychological.
Oh yeah.
I've
it'll
only
still
seen the
scar you.
first one. Yeah, it scarred me. Trust and believe. When the Mexican man was laughing, we were laughing.
I noped the fuck out of that one.
I'm not a horror
I
person.
shut that movie off.
I'm not a horror movie person. I'm a whiny baby.
No, that's okay. You can still be a whiny baby and still like to sometimes partake in horror. It's just a matter of if you're not actually gonna try and scare me, like for real scare me, and it's just here for guts, gore, and side boob, I'm gonna mentally clock out pretty fast.
Right.
Why would you say side boob, Hella? Well, because there's not too many full frontal titty shots in horror movies. They're very few and far between.
The leprechaun.
Right.
The leprechaun.
Yeah, the
Straight
leprechaun.
up. The girl with the titties and the guy's walking towards it, and then too late it becomes an industrial fan. The leprechaun, full frontal top nudity, right there.
Hold
Beautiful
up.
pair of tits, though. Don't get me wrong.
I have a side question that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Cool.
Does your shirt have straps, Mom? Because the way you did that, it was so flawless. Okay, how does your boobs not fall out of that?
Skill.
Because she
I don't
got
have
big
a bra on.
Yeah,
All
but
I
like,
do is
mine
I
would
tuck.
Mine would just
I
be
tuck and
fine.
lift.
Mine, I can't wear stuff like that because mine just come out.
It's called
Well,
skill,
the-
dear.
The bottom of this shirt also goes down to like mid-thigh.
Oh no, I mean like mine comes out the top.
Well, sweetie, I've got big-ass girls. They go down, not up anymore. I'm fucking 36 years old. Gravity is winning in this case. My tits gonna stay in unless they are, properly shelved and leveraged and yanked the fuck up.
Yeah,
Right,
say like,
And look
say
at
like
this shit. I'm texting my mom, and voice is picking up everything I'm saying.
Poor Requiem.
Hey,
Oh,
no,
come on.
put it like Nicki Minaj's. Like, put like Chloe.
No,
that shit to
no, don't do that.
I'm
Yeah,
not
n-
picking my tits up for you. What the fuck is wrong with you
No,
asking that?
no, not talking about picking up.
Then turn up your mic volume.
Okay,
Not talking about that.
so the reason
okay?
why I wanted to bring up the
Put
fact
your
of...
microphone down by your mouth so it's not all the way up here by your ear.
Oh,
I
for
can
real
see
there,
it,
Humpty
motherfucker.
Dumpty.
Dumbass, you think
Who
the
call- who
reason
call-
why we
who
can't
call
fucking
Humpty
hear you.
Okay,
I'ma
Humpty
sit
Dumpty,
here like this.
Humpty
I'ma
Dumpty,
sit here
say
like
what that.
this. I'm gonna sit here like this and hope you guys can hear me every second of the way.
King, deploy the microphone down.
Dive,
properly.
dive.
Speaking of diving, worst fucking quote-unquote horror film ever, Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, yeah.
I've never
Horrendous.
seen any of these, so I don't know how to commentate.
That's okay. I love the fact that you ask
Steer
questions.
fucking clear of that one. It's horrendous.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I finally got around to watching Skinamarink, and I was like, okay, I have been told everywhere that I've talked to...
Skinamarink, ding, ding, ding.
Right. So I've been told, right, it was a deep psychological, like...
Skinamarinky-doo.
Right, like a deep psychological...
You.
Right, like it's a deep psychological thing. I watched all of it, and my friend, right, Sam, hi Sam, was like really terrified of it, and I sat there and I think I clocked out mentally so hard that I came back at the ending credit scene because I just couldn't get into the movie. I was like, I guess there was a movie, but it
Something?
wasn't scary.
There was something. I don't remember what it was.
Right,
but it was
and-
something.
And I had to ask, right, another friend, my editor for my actual videos other than Tea Times, and he was like, it's called analog horror, and I was like, analog horror? I was like, no, it's not. Just because you put old-timey stuff in front of me doesn't make it scary. It's not scary. It's like, there's plenty of places in the world that you can go where cell phone coverage ain't a thing. Ain't nobody coming to help you.
I think it's more on the lines of horror movies are designed to be concentrated on a certain type of fear. For example, Deep
Yeah.
Blue Sea kind of concentrated on thalassophobia and galleophobia, which is
fear
the
of the
fear of
ocean.
sharks and the fear of deep ocean.
I thought
Yeah,
that
and
was
then you
shallow.
have things like
It
The
depends on your genre,
Conjuring.
because you could not be afraid of it, but at the same time, somebody else could be absolutely terrified of it.
That's true.
And for example, there was also the newest one that came out where there was two girls stuck up on a tower of some sort. I forget the
Oh
name of it.
yeah, the fear
But
of
like
heights
it's the
on that
fear of
one.
heights
That's a really
on that
good
one,
movie.
yeah.
What a
Mhm.
pilot.
Oh,
What's
look
the
at
name of
High
it?
Lord. High Lord looking at it.
Oh, right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're not watching and just listening, another friend, Pylord, has entered the chat, and we are talking about horror movies.
has entered the chat.
It's called The
High
Fall.
Lord has entered the chat with Horkotic.
By the way, Requiem, I left you a message a couple minutes ago with muted voice.
Wait, huh?
A muted voice, he left you a message.
Yeah,
Oh.
you're.
Oh, have everybody turned up. So let me turn you down.
That's right, minute.
Yeah, I'm running around.
I'm gonna start
dear
clapping.
God.
Is this what y'all were talking about last night? I was so confused with what the hell was going on in
Turn
the
down
chat
for
last
what?
night.
It was a different tea time, but essentially, but yes.
Yeah, that other tea time I couldn't put up because I was just mad angry for 45 minutes at Dylan, and it's like, I'm sorry, if your name is Dylan listening to this,
Fuck
I'm not
Dylan.
talking about you specifically. I'm talking about the other Dylan.
All I saw was she was like, fuck Dylan, and I was like, what is happening?
Right.
Dylan.
All y'all heard, all we did was just like.
I only get notifications for this
Right
server.
back.
I have all the other ones turned off.
That's okay.
All we're gonna say is, fuck Dylan.
But not the Dylan that's
Why
listening
y'all
to
keep
this.
saying fuck Dylan? Like, what is the whole purpose of this? Like, didn't I already tell y'all this?
Just go with it, King. It's just fuck Dylan and go with it. You don't want Backpack being angry at you, so fuck Dylan.
Oh,
She
it's not
already
really
mad at
another one.
Listen, she already mad at me because I have a cousin named Dylan.
Well, no, not that Dylan. The other Dylan.
I'm talking to a dude named Dylan.
Well, not that Dylan. The other Dylan.
And somehow we've gotten back on Dylan. Is there a Dylan in a...
Yeah.
In a
That's why I
horror
was saying
film.
we should get off the topic before we run another video.
Yeah, we
Hold
gotta
on,
get
hold
off
on.
the
I'm gonna
topic.
look up to see if there's a Dylan in a horror film.
If there's a Dylan in a horror movie, probably.
But what I was saying from
Oh,
before.
dude, there actually is a short horror film. It's 12 minutes long called Dylan.
Oh, well.
What I was
watching
saying
it.
from before,
I
there's
was
a
gonna
lot of
say
people that
next community movie night.
Go ahead,
Psycho's
Psycho.
gonna end up. I was about to say Psycho's gonna kill us.
for what I was saying with before, there's certain people that have a fear of blood, of gore, and stuff like that. Obviously, they are targeting that demographic. But there's also horror movies that also concentrate on a mixture of entertainment and comedy. So, like, for example, like, obviously, Friday the 13th, Jason and all that other stuff. Those kind of horror movies are not supposed to be, scary. It's more like, oh, man, who's going to get killed next? You know what I mean? It's like Scream, essentially. I mean, it's not made to be terrifying in any
just like that
standpoint
new
of
Ghostface coming out.
anything, because it's geared to be unrealistic. If it makes it too realistic, then that's when it gets scary. So for example, like movies like The Fall and like things like that could actually happen, are 10 times more scary and mostly renowned for being really good movies because they are going under a certain trope of a fear. You know what I mean?
Plausibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it's all about your target demographic. And a lot of people find horror movies very entertaining. So like if you are trying to go for the entertainment value of horror, then that's why you see a lot of those tropes in the Western movies, is because they're trying to entertain, not scare.
That's true. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask him how long I should leave this ice on my face.
Until your cheek starts to go numb?
No longer than in like, I want to say 15 minutes.
Minutes.
Yeah, I can't say minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes and then off for another 15 and then back on again.
Because you don't want to leave it on or else it could damage skin.
Yeah, it can actually cause more problems than it solves. So yeah, be careful.
Okay. Cool.
Right. Actually,
Oh my
you want to
God,
know
you're
what? A movie that I really did like, only the first one though, right, was the original Saw movie, because all I could think of was somebody with too much free time and too much money. This definitely sounds like right up their alley. And then they just got dumb.
Too much money.
Yeah, there's that.
Now, here's the thing with Saw. It's basically an unrealistic, but extremely terrifying and uncomfortable experience when you're watching it for the first time. Obviously, when you've watched a bunch of them, you know what to expect. But when Saw first came out and everything, it was one of those like horror movies that not many people were used to seeing back then. So like, it definitely had a fear factor to it because like this is like the ultimate extreme in blood and gore. So like, yes, it is still a scary thing, but obviously since the newer ones have been coming out, people are used to it. They're there to expect it.
Desensitized.
Yeah. Desensitized, yes.
Right. again, the first one I was like, okay, this is actually a semi-decent, well-done horror movie, and I liked it. And then all the other ones, I'm like, why is it we always make the FBI to be total fucking morons in all of these movies? Like, it makes
Because
no
they
sense.
are, but that's besides the point.
Dusk, you're gonna get me demonetized.
Or you're not, you're gonna get put on the list.
Or on
That's
a
the
watch
difference.
list, yeah.
Joke's on
Yeah,
you guys, I'm already on the list. A list
Oh.
of being too cool. Beanie.
Okay.
Sure.
There wasn't a list. Then I
Um,
came around and they started a list.
what do y'all think of the? I've only seen like the Final Destinations, but I've only seen the one with the lady on the beam, and then the one with the bus and the roller coaster. I've only seen those.
I've only ever
It goes into the category of this shit could happen.
Yeah.
like the
Okay.
unfortunate side effect, like when they had the one where they were driving behind a truck that was full of logs and the logs like
Yes,
got unhinged.
that one.
Which has made an entire
that
generation of people see that and move to the next lane because it's like, nah, I've seen how this ends.
Yeah.
I don't even drive
yes.
next to
Yeah,
an
those
18
straps
wheeler
fail eventually.
like a
and shit
regular
that
18
could be-
wheeler
Yep.
because I'm scared that their tires are gonna blow off and it's gonna
The
hit
ones
my
that
car.
are the most terrifying are the ones that are actually the most possible to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bridge collapsing. Oh, hold up, I'll be back.
Okay. Well, no. The Final Destination movies, are all of the deaths in there 1,000% possible? Kind of. Not really. Like, it would
Who
be...
left?
Toast.
Toast.
No.
No, it was.
Well,
it was
the log
Toast.
one has happened a couple times.
Right. The bridge failing is also another one that has happened quite a few times.
That actually also predominantly happens in action films, just to kind of give you a little bit of a thrill. It doesn't really happen very often in horror films.
Right. But the Final Destination movies specifically are like, is it
Oh, yeah.
possible? Yes. But the chances
Is
of it
it
of
plausible? Not necessarily.
Right. There would have to be 1,000 dominoes that I would have to line up correctly for that to happen. It doesn't mean it can't, it just means you really gotta reach for this conclusion.
I'm going back to watching Dylan, so I will be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Another horror film, and you wanna know what? I know, because Psycho made this point, like, the old school, like, 1980s horror movies where it's, like, a bunch of kids that were played by 30-year-olds in the woods, and they're just systematically getting knocked off. The reason why the horror in that is really, really campy is because there's no way this man is speed walking to these destinations and this other person is booking it at Mach 5. There's no way. This
Right.
man must be huge. Which is why in Dead
Yep.
by Daylight, Michael Myers is just like, I hate this fool. I'm not even paying attention to him and he's speed running this entire map.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, no, now that we're on the subject of Dead by Daylight, Dead by Daylight is...
Dusk, we're getting some background noise from your mic.
Sorry.
Background noise. How?
Yeah.
Your
I don't know.
your fan or something. It's not that bad. But yeah, like Dead by
That's
Daylight
interesting.
is one of those franchises where no, it's taking well-known quote-unquote horror movie icons and making you play life or death hide and seek with them. It's fun at the end of the day. But also again, the premise of Dead by Daylight and 90% of most American-esque horror movies is dumb. You know that going in though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, if somebody with a little electronic puppet came out and said, do you want to play a game? No. I really don't. Just shoot me and get it over with. I'm not playing a game with you.
It also, like we were talking about earlier, it's about desensitization. Where, like, yes,
That's
the
weird
realistic
shit.
ones are terrifying, but like the ones that are obviously not realistic, people are like, it's got to be bigger, it's got to be better next year, it's got to be this, that, and the other, instead of, you know, how hard it is to already create all of that stuff to begin with.
Right. So, the TLDR of this, right, the little asterisk that goes with horror movies are garbage, it's... Some horror movies are straight garbage, but the actual horror movie franchise, there's a lot of work that has to go into making even the most garbage, most horror movie, because somebody has to actually think of this idea, has to think of the logistics, the makeup crew has to be compensated for all of their stuff and not make it look like somebody just threw strawberry jam on these actors. There's a lot that goes into it, and I can appreciate
Unless it's
that.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, then
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense.
But yeah, like, there's a there's a rhyme and reason for horror movies. It's just, if you really want to see, like, oh my god, I'm terrified to go to sleep tonight kind of a horror movie, most...
So you're gonna bring that up, Psycho, to Killer Tomatoes?
Yeah.
It's important.
He went there.
Psycho
I
doesn't
knew he
care.
was gonna go there with that. I knew he was gonna go there with that, though.
Yeah. But it is, right? It's like, there are things in horror movies that just like you, Psycho, you can admit this, when you're making games or, like, doing, like, storyboarding, you can cut corners where you know you can cut corners, but there are some things that we cannot skip this. That's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to work if we don't do this.
Yep.
And, yeah, like, if you're not really into the guts and gore, I can speak English.
Work.
Right, of, like, American horror movies anymore, okay, then you're not into it. I would recommend you might want to watch more overseas horror movies, because they literally sit you down and tell you point blank at the beginning of all these movies, we got paid to fuck you up, and that's exactly what we did. So you're strapped in for the next 2.5 hours, because it doesn't stop.
They do that in Western movies as well, but it depends on the genre. Like I said, horror movies in the Western world is more... Some of them are more entertainment value than it is the actual, like, scare. There is some that are still in the Western world that are still, you know, put up prompts that says, you know, be careful. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
watching this movie. The difference between Across Oceans and in the Western world is that, like, their demographics and their level of fear for those certain demographics also affects the type of horror that you would typically see in that area.
Yeah. Like, me and Des, before we started this tea time, we're talking about a Japanese horror movie that I was watching of a man moves into a new neighborhood, and the neighbors, right, in that neighborhood that have been there for a while, tell him, hey, the house you moved in next door to has been abandoned for about 30 to 40 years. Don't go into it, because something evil lives there. He does not listen, and then the whole movie follows him having to contend with the fact that whatever was in there, he let out, and now it's attached to him. That's the whole movie, right? And it's really effective is because when he goes in the house the first time and he's walking down the stairs, you see the end of the hallway, because that's right, the stairs, end of the hallway, as you do in most basements, right? It's right there. The camera makes it a point to show you that this is a blank wall, there's nothing here. He's walking down this hallway, and the music score in that basically is like such sub-bass that you can't even really hear the bass at all. Like, it's not even like ringing enough to hear it, but you're like, oh my god, this is the worst kind of atmosphere. I'm hearing my own heartbeat kind of a fear. And when he turns around, the camera finally gets to show you the end of the hallway, and the ghost is just standing there, right? Just deep enough into the shadows that you can't quite see it, but you can see the bottom of its feet. And I'm like, see, no. Now I have to contend with the fact that this thing has been there since this guy got down here. It's just, doesn't need to hide anymore. Which is like, this is actually a great scene, because this thing doesn't even, like, make noise. It's just walking to him. And the camera stays on that, walking towards the camera. And I was like, ooh, this is actually a really good scene, because it's making me contend with the fact that it sees you. And there's nowhere to run. It's a hallway. I think that's why PT, the American, the play...
Oh, God.
Right? PT also worked, was because it's just a bunch of hallways that you're just looping around endlessly. Incorrect. Every time you go through the hallway, there is minute changes that your brain kind of takes notice of, but because the music is just, damn, sousaphone man, can you shut the hell up? Like, you are right in my ear. You don't have time to notice all of them. Like, I played it, and I looked up because of the way that the front entrance looked. I was like, maybe I should look up. Maybe the answer's there. And then there was that guy just chilling, leaning over the balcony, watching me, and I was like, oh my god, how long have you been just chilling, watching me do laps?
Pretty much.
I do enjoy, like, movies and games where, like, the horror is not
I
the
gotta
jump
say,
scare sound.
I'm
It's
gonna
like the stuff
continue
that
to
you don't
back
notice.
I'm gonna continue to back fuck Dylan.
See? But yeah, like, I feel like, look, good sound design for horror movies, that's really important. That's literally what made Jaws so scary. It wasn't the animatronic shark, it was... Dun, Dun.
Well, I mean, if you ask the crew, it was the shark.
Well, the animatronic was messing up. That was a fault of human design. That wasn't the actual living, breathing sharks in the ocean. They're not even scary in real life. They're practically blind. They bite everything because they don't have any other way of touching anything.
Yep.
Which is why when I hear people, oh, but this person was surfboarding and they got their arm or leg bit off. And? If God wanted us to
And
swim in
those
the...
people still don't blame the animal.
They don't. You cannot blame the animal for doing as it does. You decided to go into their house and play a game you knew you would lose.
Not even that. You decided to go into their house and decided to act like their common prey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
You're
the...
gonna look like a seal. To that blind fuck, you're gonna be a seal.
Right, like there is a lady in Australia who it makes it her whole entire job to explain to people sharks are not aggressive technically, and sharks
Is it Ocean?
Yeah, the Oceana, whatever her name is from
Her name's Ocean.
Oh, her name is Ocean, yeah. Where she makes it a point to be like, look, sharks actually are not that aggressive. In fact, if you grab one by its snout before it bites you and just move it, you've completely
there it is,
redirected
my
it.
lord.
Yeah, you essentially
They're
just go.
pretty
whoop,
aggressive still, but yeah.
whoop.
Right, but you can't blame the
They're
shark
fucking
for...
powerful though.
Right.
They're fast.
The big
that's-
thing with sharks is you can't move around. If you move around, then you look
No,
like a
you
dead.
have to be slow and
Mhm.
smooth,
Chill.
no frantic. So even if they do come towards you, you have to literally move your hand slowly and just go whoop.
Right. And again, right, the Jaws really did a number, like, negatively towards, like, the wildlife for sharks, is because now everybody is like, but they're aggressive and they want to eat people. They're really not. They're doing as they do. You should be scared about
It's
killer
also one
whales.
of the reasons why Shark Week started,
Right.
I mean, let's
to
just
try and build that back up.
Good for
You
them.
know, everyone's heard of the movie Cocaine Bear coming out. You don't think so many more people are gonna think bears are so much more aggressive than they are?
Again, though,
nah.
right?
Oh no, that's why this movie's done partially to be like a farce. It's not the
It
actual
literally
story.
advertises itself in the very beginning. It says that this is not normal. This is taken to a true extreme. They even say it in the trailers and everything.
They
Right.
didn't do that with Jaws.
I was
And you can fucking tell with the lines they're using, the way that they're doing it, it's an absolute farce.
Right. Also, and I know this from Shark Week.
Do bears?
Like farce of the
Do all
penguins.
bears do cocaine?
No, just this one in particular.
This one
And
was
any of the
raised
ones that
by...
had anything to do with Grizzly Adams.
Well, here, right? Also, even
They
when I
felt
was
touched.
watching Jaws as a kid, I remember thinking, I don't think sharks actually get that close to the land where the beach starts, is because I don't think there's enough
No,
water.
They do. They do. It happens here all the time during the summer in New York, along the entirety of the coast of Long Island. You will hear about sharks, tiger sharks in particular, getting very, very close to shore, within swimmer range.
Right. No, that's what I was going to say. It's
So
like,
that happens all the time.
right. Well, this is what I was going to say, right? I didn't think that, and then thanks Shark Week, they were like, no, sharks definitely do make it a point to get that close, but also their main food lives right next door to you guys. There's no way around that.
It lives on land and in water, just like you are demonstrating right now.
Right. And it's again,
What they
right?
go off of.
Like when somebody tried to tell me, oh, but you have a deep fear of the ocean. I don't, actually. I have a healthy respect of it. I don't mind going to play in it in incredibly shallow water, but if somebody told me, we're gonna go out 900,000 feet and then go play in the water, nah, man. Not in a
No.
million years.
Nope. If you see the stuff that lives down that deep, nope.
That's also why, if anyone hasn't really noticed, most shark
Did you
attacks
say
actually
9,000
happen.
meters?
Yeah.
Most of the shark attacks happen closer to shore, as versus to people who go out to sea. Less sharks attack out further in the ocean. They concentrate themselves by the shore where they know their prey will be.
Right. And again, their main food source is seal. Now, you guys,
I'd be
right?
good at 9,000 meter.
9,000 meters out to sea before you start to go down? Like, nah, man. I
Oh,
could.
out.
Yeah.
That meant down.
Yeah,
No,
Like
out.
9,000 meters down.
Out.
I was like, I'd be fine. If I was not have the right stuff,
Bro,
I'd be
we are
alright
not.
with that.
Okay, yeah, no, we're not doing some Subnautica shit here, okay?
I thought you were talking about 9,000 meters down. I'm like, that's literally almost the very bottom of the ocean. I'm like, there ain't nothing down there except for a couple, small plant life. All that.
No, like, okay, we're gonna drive the boat out 9,000 meters, and then we're gonna get in the water. I'm sorry, dude. I'm gonna let you know right now. Just because shark attacks don't happen often that far out doesn't mean it's the only thing out there that can hurt you.
9,000 meters is how many miles?
Ooh. I gotta do conversion math. Hold on.
I don't do conversions from
Somebody
metric to
ask for
imperial that
Alexa.
well.
I don't want to be replaced by an Alexa.
Okay,
That's
Siri.
about 5.5 miles, give or take.
Right.
It's how far?
5.5.
No.
Oh, that's
Five-
not
5.5
that
to
far out. And that
5.6.
water's
That's not very
that deep.
far.
That's
very deep, actually.
It's very deep. but it's not
And my
that far
auto mod
off-
caught
off
that one.
But do you see what I mean? It's like, even though it's not that far out, it doesn't mean that the water
That
that
was
far
funny.
out isn't deep.
It's far enough
Well-
out that you could get to the abyssolific zone. I think I'm saying
Abyssolific
that
zone.
correctly.
Jesus Christ. And then on top of it, they name everything in the ocean as scary as possible, right? This
That's
is the...
where deep water fishing occurs. We're there constantly.
But I wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
swimming out there because it's all fun and
Hell
games.
no.
At scuba divers,
Well, right,
they
again,
go out that far.
this went from a horror movie talk
Recreationally.
Scuba
to...
divers don't go that down.
Dude, I love how the fact that this went
Abyssolific
from...
zone? No, they'd be dead.
Dude, I love the fact that this went from a horror movie
Oh.
talk to the conservation of the wildlife in the ocean. This is
The
great.
nearest land
So
would be
anything that's
5.5
below
miles.
them, because there's open water scuba divers that will spear fish out there,
That's true.
Oh, but the poor fish.
but they don't go that far down.
Yeah, I don't think you can go
Like
5
that's
miles
where you
down.
have to
Zone?
go. That's where you have. You're talking about deep. I'm talking about out. So I'm
That's what I'm
talking about
saying.
way
It's-
above.
Going this way does not convert the zones. You would just be in the abyssolic zone.
Psycho did a real quick Google search. He's become the expert in oceanic zones. Thanks,
I was like,
Psycho.
quit talking about the damn zone. We're not in auto zone, all right? We're not doing that.
I'm looking for the tire zone. You're
Wait,
in the wrong
This
place.
is not AutoZone?
Why are you...
No, this is Wendy's.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
No.
Why are you
it's a
shopping for pants at the
factory.
soup store?
There we go! There we go!
Another thing, and this is right, even though we've been on the subject for Jaws, Jaws, no matter which version of them, like you did, it did demonstrable harm to, like, the shark,
welcome, Requiem.
the sharks, the shark species.
Sharks, mate. Ooh-ah.
People! Shark people!
Right, and then on top of it, they keep making, like, they keep making, like, Sharknado. I was like, I don't think people realize there are some typhoons that can pick them up, but that's not the
Yeah.
scariest thing that you
Yeah.
should be worried
They
about.
actually do.
I think there's
Shark
also a
isn't the problem.
It's the spiders.
I think there's
no,
also a
it is.
positive
The shark
thing
is
because
the problem. Being alive or not is really not going to change it. It's a giant fucking several 100-pound fish being thrown at you.
That's true. I was always more terrified. Like, I don't remember what because it was marketed as a horror movie when the hurricanes were coming into Florida and everything. They were like, the water level is rising
Yeah.
and the gators can now move freely through city spaces in water. So it's not a matter of, is the water going to kill you? It's a matter of, will the gator take the
Is the
free...
stuff in the water
What
gonna kill
in
you?
the
Right.
water will kill you?
What were you saying, Psycho?
Hmm?
You were saying something before.
I was, but it was interrupted.
Sorry.
We're good.
But yeah, I was like, I'm more terrified of that movie because I was like, this is actually, they even make it a point at the beginning of the movie to tell you, this does happen during every single hurricane that happens in Florida. The water rises and the alligators can go anywhere they want because now it's a free-for-all space for them. I was like, why don't people live in Florida? It's hot, it's muggy, it rains all the time, got poisonous snakes. I just realized I described Australia. I'm trying to think of any other movie that, like, in America was semi-decent. Like, I'm not going for good, I'm just going for, like, believably decent, and I'm blanking so hard.
Depends on what genre you're trying to go for.
So, not snakes on a plane.
Snakes on a Plane wasn't really a horror movie. It was a Samuel L. Jackson movie.
Yeah, which is its own category in and of itself.
Yeah.
That's even worse, man.
I don't know. I feel like if I had a GPS that talked to me like Morgan Freeman, I would never get anywhere. But if it talked to me like Samuel L. Jackson, I'd be getting places in a hurry.
Son of a...
What?
Okay, I'm going to leave this guy to just fight this damn thing himself because he can't bait it anywhere to save me or him. Son of a bitch.
Dusk is playing Monster Hunters right now while we're having this conversation.
Yes.
Psycho, what
Yes.
movie would you categorize the one that
Please
you're
not
thinking
hunting a
of?
shark.
Not this time. That's later.
Psycho?
He's muted.
What's a horror movie that you would categorize that is good?
Like I said, it all goes off of your fear. One that I enjoyed was probably Nope. Nope was pretty good.
Nope was actually
I
really
did enjoy
good.
Nope.
That one was, I will say yes.
And it was just because of the acting, but I don't fully judge horror movies the same way that somebody else does. When I look at a horror movie, I look at the VFX, the background stuff, all the other stuff that goes into it, the lighting, which, oh my god, there are so many horror movies that are terrible with their lighting. Ugh.
Yeah.
I feel like lighting
God.
in general in movies is just like Game of Thrones, right? Like, I can't see anything. I might as well just take an apple. I'm listening to this. Be the exact same
Yeah.
experience for free.
Well, if
I
they
mean,
use more lighting, they
What a
have
weird
to
camera.
put more money into their makeup and
They
CGI.
wanted
so
to
it's
do it
shit.
where it was lit with like fire and stuff like that, which did not work out. So they ended up using like poor floodlights, and it really didn't work well for what they were doing.
Do you mean
So-
our ancient ancestors were probably wandering around in the dark because they only had lamp and torchlight? Psycho, how...
Well, they weren't filming on cameras made for like specific lighting
Oh, that's
situations. It's kind of like this one right here,
true. Mm-hmm.
the one that I'm filming off of.
Uh-huh.
If I was to turn off this light, turn off that backlight, it completely ruins the situation of the setting. I would be oversaturated. I would be like, you have to do a bunch of settings to make it look good.
Yeah.
And obviously they didn't do that. They did and they didn't. They did better in the day, but not at night,
Well,
for sure.
yeah, like, realistically, please let the people you're trying to entertain be able to see what they're looking at, because if it's just too dark, we're gonna immediately, I wonder what's happening on my social media feed right now.
Yes, our attention spans do not last very long.
You
Yeah,
have an attention span?
Not much.
right. Somebody tried to say it's like, oh, Americans just don't like movies. They'll just whip out their phone whenever. I was like, no. Americans have the mindset of, if it's not entertaining enough to keep my attention, I'll go find stuff I know is going to entertain me, because this isn't it.
This damn tree got in my way.
The tree didn't get in your way. Your attack was in the tree's way.
I am not listening to you anymore.
Yeah, and the reason why Psycho knows all this is because Psycho is literally going to school for it, and because he's in the middle of making a video game level, he does actually have to pay attention to light, because if you decide
But I
to...
also have a degree in multimedia, so
That's true.
yeah.
It's also the reason why when one of the people on his team, who I've decided to name Dylan, fuck that guy, decided to make the illumination light, it's like, my good sir, what were we doing? Why is this just smack dab in the middle of the map?
It was funny. I'll give him that.
It was funny, but it was also, why do you have this here? I don't know why he has this here.
He was testing out a wall, or he was testing out a material on a wall, and forgot to switch it back after he was done. So that illumination thing that you had saw was the material that he was going to use for the hologram, and it was very over missed.
Yeah.
Psycho, what kind of movie would you classify as a body horror?
Body
Ooh.
horror.
The Fly.
Probably anything that involves like the body getting chopped up. So Saw would probably be a good one. There's a lot of mixed ones that you could mix with those, right? So,
like
anything
a-
that involves with like an appendage getting cut off or something like that would probably involve.
Like Jeepers
Like,
Creepers,
bodyboard.
Texas Chainsaw
Jeepers
Massacre.
Creepers, The
Yeah.
Hills Have
Those are
Eyes.
slasher
I mean,
films, though.
there is slasher films, but like I said, the body horror films. I mean, I could look up some examples.
I always took The Fly with Jeff
Because
Goldberg.
any body horror I could classify as the others that are on the list you put. Like, I could classify old people as a psychological horror. Because it fucks with the fact that you're gonna get old.
Well, genre.
then
I mean,
they
game
also-
movies can go into multiple genres, but like there's different types of things that require you to be in that genre. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to say it's like it's like, oh, I'm gonna make a movie and it specifically better be only. It better be only body horror. I swear to God, if it isn't, I'm putting you out. You know? It's not how it works. That's just not how it works. Like, people put things into multiple genres anyway. The Thing would be a perfect example.
Oh,
Of
The Thing is a
like
great-
body
There you go.
horror genre.
Oh,
I
I
would say
totally
is like a
blinked on
really
that.
good example. Human Centipede is also a body horror genre.
You're not supposed to enjoy Human Centipede.
There's a second one too. That's the disturbing part.
I
Oh.
watched the first one and I regretted it.
Okay, but that's a body horror genre. Anytime that you like take the human body and turn it or morph it or do something crazy to it, then that's
So then technically a zombie film could also be considered.
Resident Evil would be
technically
considered a
yes.
body horror film.
It's loose, but yes.
And what's going on right now? Last of Us.
Oh, that is.
Technically could
Yeah.
be considered
Yeah.
a body horror. As
Yes.
well as dystopian.
And the ones that I just listed are only some of the horror genres. This is just a few.
Yeah, no, I know there's like dystopian horror too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, legitimately.
Yeah, somebody actually tried to tell me that the movie The Road with Viggo Mortensen was technically considered dystopian horror, and I remember I looked at them, I was like, you ever read the book? It's like listening to somebody's NyQuil fever dream diary. Like, it's not, it's very hard to understand.
They took some creative liberties.
They took a lot of creative liberties.
Did it work?
No.
Then they fucked up.
But again, right, that's a personal opinion of no. I've met a few people that are like, oh, that movie with Viggo Mortensen, The Road, was really good. I was like, can you explain it to me? Because I watched it twice and I still didn't understand it.
I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Psycho is doing like this deep sea research. I'm so sorry, Psycho.
It's not deep sea. I'm actually trying to build my lighting. I'm doing homework while I'm doing this.
Hey,
this talk.
Psycho. Lighting needs to be rebuilt.
I'm doing it right now. It's literally taking an hour. It's taking an hour to
Something
fucking
broke.
build. Yeah.
Something broke, has to be rebuilt.
Oh, that's actually another horror story, dear viewers who are listening. Psycho is literally in the middle of trying to negotiate with the terrorist, whose name is Dylan, that works on his team. Fuck Dylan, because Dylan doesn't want to patch the stuff for the game, and Psycho is like, my guy, please.
Why? Why not?
Yeah, did you ever get an answer as to why?
I'm still working on negotiations.
We don't negotiate with terrorists in this
Negotiations
house.
never took place.
We will not negotiate.
What negotiations?
Here's the
Negotiations
negotiation.
seem to have failed. Negotiations never took place.
You want to know what? I would tell him, since we seem to be at an impasse, I'm just going to do it anyway.
Sir.
Here's what you're gonna do to solve this problem. You're going to build additional pylons.
Just tell him I will begin to annex your borders so you cannot trade. Like, this.
Even the cat is unamused by that one, Pie Lord.
She's sleepy. Don't be mean to her. She's a sleepy baby.
No, she's hungry. That's why she's licking her chops.
Cats sometimes just lick their faces.
Cats just lick things.
That's true.
Okay, you know what? Here's a question for you, Backpack. What's your favorite? What would you consider to be a good horror movie, and which one would be your favorite?
Oh, well, thank you so much for asking. The movie Hush, which is technically a psychological horror movie about a deaf woman in the middle of the woods that's an author, having to fight against an actual legit serial killer who's trying to murder her, but he's fucking with her on purpose because he finds out really fast when he gets to her door that she can't hear. So he's in her house for a solid, 5 minutes just looking around before he purposely jump scares her, and then the rest of the time is just her trying to outsmart him, which she does. But she gets beat for it, man. It's a rough movie.
Understood.
Oh, another good one would be Would You Rather?
Oh.
Ooh. Hi, Lord, you good over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, what's up?
Heard something in the background.
Kitty cat something? No.
Noise in the background or whatever.
Yeah.
So Would You Rather would be a really good psychological because you have to go all the way through. You're going to get killed.
True.
And then you also got yourself into this for your loved one, so you want to see them on the other end.
What
You
about...
also have your classic gothic horrors. Say for example, any vampire movie,
Oh, what was that one with
Werewolf,
Tom Hiddleston?
Twilight.
Excluded.
But
I'd rather
anything that has
classify that as a comedic horror.
okay, but there's comedy, but is it technically qualified as a horror? I don't know if it is.
It's...
The books are.
Yeah. What about you, Desk? What's your favorite horror movie?
I don't really have a favorite horror movie. The one that got me the most would have to have been the original Jeepers Creepers.
Crimson Peak, that was the movie I was thinking about.
Really? That one got you?
No,
that
one
didn't get
and
me.
one of the iterations of The Hills
don't
Have
know.
Eyes. I can't remember which one it was though.
Oh, The Hills
Got
Have
me a different
Eyes?
way.
Really? I always took that as...
That one messed with my head a little bit because I was younger when I saw it for the first time.
Oh, that's fair.
That's what
But I
happened
don't
to me
remember
with
which
mine.
one.
Mine was It. The original It with Tim
I
Curry.
think
Ah.
the one this one isn't really a horror movie, but that one scene was when I was fucking I think I was 5 or something like that. And I
Which
saw
movie?
the Brothers Grimm,
Uh-huh.
Oh jeez.
the horse scene.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what the
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Whoa!
Okay, so Backpack, the question to you a moment ago was actually from chat. And they have another question.
Cool, what is it?
And it's about serial killers. You think they kill for fun, or do most of them have specific targets that they're aiming for and everyone else just seems to get in the way?
Are we talking about in movies or we talking about IRL?
Yeah.
Movies.
Okay, then
Let's
in...
go with movies first.
Well, then in movies, they purposely hyper conflate. That's not the word I'm trying to think of. They basically make it to where it's behold, the deep dark secret of serial killers.
Hollywood it.
Yeah, they make it a hyperbole for it. Oh look, this is their quote unquote main target, but they love them just too much, so they're finding other people to fill that void. And I'm kind of, no, not really. With actual IRL serial killers, that's not even how they operate.
Nope.
No, I mean it even depends with the movies. It depends on how that killer, where that killer is in their progression.
Oh, that is very true.
Because usually, to become a serial killer to begin with, you start with people you know, and then you can target certain women, like the Boston Strangler. He had a type.
Yeah, you start going after a specific
So
profile.
are you a slasher? A serial slasher where you just go to a place, kill a bunch of people, and you move? Or are you a premeditated I have a type killer where you have to sit, plan, and do?
Right. Again, though, right? Serial killer, I'm going to put that in air quotes, serial killers as far as it goes for movies, it really depends on who's writing the serial killer, one. Two, if they understand kind of what they need to absolutely change.
hash-slinging slasher.
Yeah. Well, that's the guy who wrote the original Hannibal book series, Hannibal the Cannibal, and then they got made to everything else. He did understand, this deep psychology of a serial killer, and he was yeah, no, we can't write about that. So he purposely, turned it up to 11 on purpose to make it a book. Because it's there's no way. There's a lot of stuff that absolutely wouldn't happen if this was an actual real serial killer. But he did it for the purpose of entertainment. Now, the actual serial killers that they try to make, documentaries on, that stupid Netflix one with Jeffrey Dahmer, I am so tired of hearing about it.
Oh my god.
I couldn't finish watching that shit.
Do you want to know what it is, too? Jeffrey Dahmer is not some, like, 1800s serial killer. He was much more modern killer, and many of his victim families are still alive.
He was most recent.
Right. And it's like, if it were me, I would have been like, fuck Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, we already know about all of his shenanigans and shit. Let's talk to the people that are still alive that have to deal with the immediate fallout of their loved one being murdered by this dick. But no, nobody ever wants to talk to the victims.
Well, also a lot of times the victims don't want to talk either because they want to leave that. They want to try and leave that shit behind and try and move on.
That's true.
And so people coming around, trying to do that shit, they're not gonna be all too. Typically, they're not gonna be all too excited about sharing their story because all it's gonna do is reopen some old wounds and make them relive some past trauma that they thought they put away.
Right, but again, like when. So I found this out, and Requiem's gonna, like, gag, but here it is. Apparently there are a lot of people that were really super duper into Jeffrey Dahmer. And I mean...
Oh, no, I'm well aware.
Right, do you know what I mean? But I was like, ew, gross.
Do I agree with it? Does it disgust me? Yeah, but there were a lot of people who just straight up... Anytime a serial killer gets arrested, they turn into, like, a cult figure.
Which makes no sense. Like, hey, guys.
And they turn into sex symbols, like fucking...
Gross.
Charles Manson.
I don't understand why, because everybody that actually was with him in prison before he died was like, he's not a deep, like, mastermind of anything. He's just some guy. So I was like, oh, that's even worse.
He's not just some guy. He is a smart, charismatic some guy.
Well, yeah, but again, right? It's like, ugh, I hate people like you. You could do so much good in the world.
You either have to be so fucking creepy that no one wants to even know what you're up to, or you need to be charismatic as fuck and convince people they didn't see what they saw.
That's also true.
There is no in-between.
There can't be an in-between.
Oh, there can be.
Oh, I'm sure there can be. But do you know what I mean? It's like, look, IRL serial killers, me personally, on a personal level, do they fascinate me? Yes. But it's
Did the controller die there, Dusk?
Yeah. It just popped out of nowhere, just went da-da-dun on me.
But yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like, I find serial killers fascinating, but I find them fascinating in like a clinical type, right? Like a scientist fascination.
Yeah, the psyche of all of it is what makes it so fascinating.
Right.
Psychoanalysis.
Right. But when people are like, oh, I like them because something, I relate to them, I'm like, I think you need to talk to somebody. Like, you need serious help. Like, you shouldn't...
Yeah, if you relate to them, then you need some fucking help.
Right.
For real.
Poor Psycho. He's so busy trying to fix the lighting that they ruined.
No, it's not the lighting. I'm negotiating with the culprit.
Damn it, Dylan, we talked about this.
Negotiating with the terrorist? The lighting terrorist?
He wants no traps on the ground. And then he also wants the walls to be open. He wants no walls on the ground.
He's fucking stupid. We've already gone through this entire conversation.
Thank you!
We've already had this entire conversation. He needs to shut up about it and do what he's told.
No, that's it. He's done.
He is making me and my professor, like, want to yeet him through a window.
There is too much work already done to turn around and delete it all.
Yeah, like, you guys are, like, at the final pass.
And he wants to make everyone else's work.
Fail him, kick his ass out, and then continue on.
Psycho, I think I would just tell him point blank, it's like, listen to me, we are 95% done with this. I am not going to Control-Alt-Delete this because you have a bone to pick. You should have brought this up 95% ago and said something. We're too far gone now.
Back at the concept stage. Shit.
Yep.
Right, in the beta
Probably
phase.
Did, and then he didn't get his way.
And now he's all pissy about it.
Oh,
yeah?
Boo. I hate people like that. But yeah, like...
It's like, okay, disagree, sure, but then commit.
Yeah, like, Psycho, I think I would just have your professor be like, he's not listening to me, I need higher up intervention.
This one he needs divine intervention because his ass is about to meet Jeebus.
It's true. But yeah, like...
Drag his ass in here and he'll fucking realize you'll have the fucking the fucking GCC,
Yeah, we're not doing
on
that.
his ass.
GCS.
Yep.
I think it's the reason why when I was watching...
GCS Mafia.
We're not a mafia. We don't have dental.
Not yet.
don't have dental.
We
No,
represent
we have the vet. The vet does dental and surgical, all right? We kept it cheap.
super cheap.
Cheap and in-house.
Go get
That's
your
how I
dog
like
looked
it.
at.
I don't have a dog. You do now. Go get him looked at.
Right? Just
But sir, about this bullet wound, go get your dog. Wink, wink, wink. Looked at.
Nose crooked.
right? It's like, so this is my
And if
dog.
I gotta tell you again, I'm gonna knock your lights out, and then we're both gonna go get your dog looked at.
Yeah, that we don't have dental. We have one veterinarian that technically flunked out of vet school, but we don't double check why they
We
flunked.
don't worry about
We
that.
don't-
It just means that just means he doesn't have a code that has to stick to, so he's gonna fix you up, but you ain't gonna like it.
It's true. Yeah, but when
It ain't gonna look pretty.
it's gonna look done, but it's not gonna look pretty.
You're not gonna die, but it ain't gonna be pretty.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why when people try to bring up, like, serial killers, I'm like, do you mean like an IRL serial killer? Because I'm getting tired of listening to people talk about them. But if you mean a fictional serial killer where every kill is extraordinarily, there's no way that this person didn't get caught, right? I'm here for it because it's fantasy. There's no way to mess up the fake scenario you did. It's not possible. I feel really bad. Psycho's living his own horror movie right now, talking to this guy.
It's not a horror movie, more like a just frustration generator.
Boom!
Talking about serial killers, one that pops in my mind, little one that not everyone talks about as much. Ed Gein.
Who's Ed Gein?
He basically liked to make furniture and stuff out of human bodies.
Oh no.
Wow.
I mean, I guess in theory that's something that people have been doing for forever, like books that were bound in human skin. Those were real and are still held up today. Like they held up real nice, but also at what cost? Whose skin is this?
Well, you could say that they were part of history.
But they died to be part of history. Well, I guess everybody dies to be part of
Everyone
history.
dies to be part of history. The fuck you mean?
Yeah, I was like, oh well, I think everybody dies to be part of history. Yeah, like, I guess the reason, the TLDR of this entire tea time is basically, horror movies can be fun, but I beg of you, if it's just gonna be a gore fest, can you just tell people that in the trailer, like, it's got gore inside tit, that's all we're here for. That way I don't get my hopes and expectations up, because I know what I signed up for. I can.
Well, usually they advertise the sex thing in the trailers most of the time.
Actually,
90% of the time.
well, actually, no, because I remember I saw the trailer for Hellfest, and the trailers that I saw had nothing at all to do with a lot of the movie. I was like, oh, sweet, it's going to be a psychological horror. No. It was immediately just guts, gore, and side boob, and I was like, oh my god. I wasted money to see this movie. I can't back out now. That's always the worst, when you waste money to go see a movie and it's like, oh no, I know it's bad, but I'm not backing out yet. We're gonna get our money's worth.
Well, I'm in it for the long haul.
Like,
We're already going down the track, so hell, blow the whistle.
well, here, right? A couple of friends and me, we went out in the middle of December to go watch, I think it was called Black Christmas or, like, Bloody Christmas, something like that, about a bunch of girls in a fraternity having to, like, not get killed by guys in robes that were, like, a cult. And we were told point blank this was going to be a bad movie. We went, and 5 minutes in, we were like, oh, it's that kind of a movie. We spent the entire movie, because we're the only people in the theater, just making jokes and ragging on it, but we had a great time. When other people were coming in when we were going out, they were like, is it a bad movie? We were like, well, we had a lot of fun. So our entire little town got told this was a fun movie, and everybody agreed it was a fun movie, because if you go into this expecting to be entertained, you're not going to have a bad time.
So, I mean, it wasn't a bad movie in the end, per se.
Oh no, like the actual story and premise and everything, it was a bad movie. But because it was just so cheesy, we didn't care because we were having a grand old time riffing on it so much. Like, we kept making the jokes like, ho, don't do it. And then whatever girl was on screen, she'd do it and we'd be like, damn it.
What do we tell you not to do?
Right. We were more concerned about making jokes about this stupid movie than we were concerned about the
Look around
movie.
and find out. Well, we know what she just did.
Right. One girl was sitting there, like, complaining that she couldn't find whatever it is she was looking for. And one guy was like, why do women... Right, my one friend, he goes, why do girls always forget their stuff? Are you trying to, like, sneak into our house? You're our girlfriend. We hope you never leave anyway. You don't gotta sneak in. And I was like...
You smell pretty. We need you here.
Right. Like, we spent so much time making fun of this movie that it turned into a completely different movie that the first time the actual kill happened on screen, I was like, oh, you think they need a Snickers bar? They're not acting like themselves. And all of us busted out laughing, because at that point, we were at the 30-minute of an hour, 30-minute movie. Like, it was too late. We'd already fucked off from the premise of this movie a long time ago.
What happened to the original plot of the movie?
I had one of those kind of moments happen to me when I went to see 30 Days of Night.
Oh.
The very beginning, when the guys are doing rock, paper, scissors,
Uh-huh.
and one of them gets yanked away,
Uh-huh.
a random stranger 4 or 5 rows up, we're all watching it, we're all silent, we're like, oh, fuck. And he just goes, well, I guess he lost. And the whole theater
just busts up laughing.
We couldn't take the rest of the fucking movie seriously anymore.
Well, I think that's the thing that a lot of people sometimes forget. Like, some people's response to
Damn.
horror is comedy. And I know this is because when I ever get really scared, I start to try to make myself giggle and laugh on purpose, because my body's response to fear is laugh. Don't even think about it. Giggle. Start making yourself happy. Whereas my other friend's response to fear is violence. So it's the reason why we can't go to haunted houses.
Yeah, it's
Why?
not just fight or flight anymore. It's fight, flight, or
Laugh.
Fight, flight, lol.
fight, flight, or fuck off.
Right. Well, no, because I went with this is the friend group. The three ways of fear. There was me, who laughs. There was the other one who hide, and then the other one, right, Tony, who is violence. Not even fight. It's violence. Like, oh my god. So we went out to a haunted house, as you do. And I don't know why, right, we had this smart idea. They put me in front, and I was like, oh no, never put the giggly person in front. The dude jumped out, right, he had a chainsaw. I busted out laughing so bad I doubled over trying to breathe. And Tony's back at the Robomac like, you gotta breathe, girl. You're gonna run out of air. They're gonna kill you because you laugh too much. I was like, no, don't stop me. I'm on a roll. This guy literally put the chainsaw down. He looked at me. He goes, I feel like I just got sucker punched. I don't even know what to do. I've scared so many people. This is the first one that laughed at me.
I feel like I failed at my job.
Yeah.
I feel like I failed at life.
Right. So I had to literally take a whole minute, like, to get composed again, and we kept going. The next person that jumps...
You really fucked with him in his head. He probably could have been like, am I going to lose my job because of this?
Yeah. Well, you're right. We went a little bit further in, and then this chick jumped out, and she did, like, the contortion thing, and my first thing that popped out of my mouth, because I was still trying hard not to giggle, I looked at her, I was like, damn, you got fucked so hard he ruined your back. And she started laughing. She landed on the floor, and I'm just giggling. The other two are just standing there next to me like, why are you like this? I'm like, I'm scared.
Makes for a great time.
Right.
True.
But
If we ever meet, remind me to make sure it's during the month of October and to bring you to a haunted place.
Right. So by the time we got out, right?
I'll bring you to one of the ones that's in New York City where you have to sign a fucking waiver.
I'll bring you to my brother's house.
Oh no, I'm not good with small
That's not
children.
weird at all.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm not good with small children. Don't ditch me with them. But yeah, like, basically the haunted
I
house
got
thing.
some pretty shitty neighborhoods in my area.
You live.
Although they're not really haunted, they just covered with meth addicts.
You live in Ohio.
Might as well be
It's
shit.
more of a Breaking Bad kind of environment
Yeah.
rather than Breaking Psycho.
Yeah, but actually, I giggled about this is because when we finally got out of the haunted house, the guy that ran the haunted house was there
Pizzas
waiting
on the
for
roofs
us.
Of any houses?
Huh?
Psycho, have you seen any pizzas on the roofs of any houses?
No. But I have had like a lot of people say, "Hey, you got $5?"
No.
Or do you have a jumper cable? My car is just over at that dead end alley.
No. My good sir, I'm
You're like,
walking.
Creepy,
Nah,
wide-eyed.
fam,
Come
I'm good.
help me with my car battery, please, sir.
You could definitely tell that they're like, oh, really? Just want the car cable.
Oh, like
Like,
the last
yeah,
two
okay.
patients that I had on Saturday.
Yeah, but I remember.
Like, yeah, you definitely want that car cable.
Cellulitis all swollen here and his
Oh,
girlfriend
that
back and forth. So I need to call John, right? Should I call John? I think I need to call John. I'm gonna go call John.
Ma'am, are you good? Is your high
cellulite's
running out?
nasty. You never
It
quite get
is.
rid of it 100%.
Oh, but yeah, when we got out of that haunted house, the guy that ran the haunted house, like the actual manager, was there waiting for us, and he looked at me. He goes, "You ruined 3 of my people. They literally feel like I'm gonna fire them because you laughed so hard at them." And I was like, "I'm sorry." I was like, "If I didn't laugh, Tony would have hit them." And he's like, "Hit him." I was like, "Yeah, hit them, like on purpose, like bone breaking hit." And I looked at Tony, and he was like, "She's right. The one time that clown epidemic happened to us, I literally threw off my glasses, gave them to her, and told her, 'Don't stop me. I'm gonna beat the shit out of that clown.'" And I was like, "Oh no, we're gonna go to jail for murder of clown."
Murder in the hot degree.
But yeah, it's one of those, look, everybody responds to fear differently. I'm just the weirdo that just laughs because I have no other recourse because I can't fight. I'm not good at hiding.
So then what movie made you laugh the most? Because then we know that's the one that scared the fuck out of you.
Let me think.
Oh, damn, you're right.
The movie that made me laugh the most was actually the original Child's Play. I was cracking up. Not because it scared me, but because the whole premise of it was just so wild. But, like, it was wild in a way that's like, there's no fucking way, dude.
Well, what's the one that made you laugh the most because it scared you?
Oh,
We're not talking about one that would be a joke of a fucking movie where you see a doll get yeeted from behind a camera.
let's see. I think... Yeah, actually, I think it was The Hills Have Eyes. Only because it's like, look, the entire premise of this movie is banking on the fact that these people are fucking dumb. But it's also banking on the fact of, you ever been to the Appalachian, like, deep into the Appalachians?
Yeah.
Right, it's like, that's all I can think of
if
is...
you're wandering around at night up there, I've gone to camp up there. If you're wandering around at night anywhere near there, if you heard your name, no you didn't. If you heard a baby cry, no you didn't.
No, you didn't.
If you hear someone call and they sound exactly like you, no you didn't.
No, they didn't.
It's called a banshee.
I thought banshees were Irish and they
That's
screamed.
not just a banshee.
That could be a skinwalker.
Oh, that's true.
Exactly. You hear a whistle, run the fuck away.
Fuck, could be a skinwalker, could be a Wendigo, could be any number of fucking things.
Or it could just be the people that live up there really trying to fuck with you.
That too.
Well, yeah, I would view it.
That's Adam Berry.
And if you hear a growl, you're dead already.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you know what? Now that we're on the subject of skinwalkers, because it's still technically in the land of horror, somebody was trying to tell me that skinwalkers would be like animals. Animals tend to avoid really, really sick people that have, like, cancers, and, like, how I have MS is because it's contaminated meat, they wouldn't eat it, and I looked at them, I was like, I don't think a monster gives 2 ding-dong diddly shits about whether or not I'm sick. If it's easy pickings, they're gonna go for the easy picking first.
Yep. They will go for the easy picking first. It's if you want something that's going to go for the strongest of something, it would end up being a demon. A demonic possession would be something that would do that.
Right. See, demons
Which is
make more
exactly
sense.
Would bring you to the movie like The Rite.
The
Anthony
Exorcist.
Hopkins. The Exorcist. Well, The Exorcist not so much. Because the little girl wasn't very faithful. Usually, what's said in Catholic religion is that demonic possessions will happen to those who are, like, so deeply, deeply fucked up, or are so deeply devout.
Or they're
There is no
worshiping,
in
or they're
between much.
worshiping Santana.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, here's the thing, right?
Alright, guys, be right back.
Okay,
I gotta grab foods.
here's the thing, right? And I had to say this to somebody, and they told me, though, that doesn't make sense. I was like, look, the reason why animals, specifically, sometimes don't go after sick people is because an animal does not know any better. All they smell is sickness. To them,
Yep.
the sickness is...
Unless they care, they don't come near.
Right. The reason why...
Like, I'm sick, my girls will barely leave my side
Right.
because I'm part of their little circle.
Right. The thing is, though, right?
Otherwise, nah.
Like wild animals, they really don't want to touch sick things is because it doesn't matter that it's a sickness that can only affect you. As far as it's aware, if you're sick, that means if I eat you, I will also get sick and I don't need to be sick. That's why
Unless it's a compassionate animal. Well, an animal that's more capable of intelligent compassion.
Right, like...
And I phrase it that way because I mean, like, cats, dog, emotional, full attachment. Gorillas.
Right. And again...
They will more than likely band closer or come closer and decide if that animal is a threat or if it's not. If it's not a threat, they either neutralize it themselves.
Without eating it.
Or they care.
Right. But when people are like, well, most animals, if they smell a sick person...
Anything that can be predatory, I suppose.
Right. And somebody was like, well, no, because, you know, if a predator, right, an animal predator smells that you're sick, they'll ignore you. I was like, no, that's actually not true. Most animals, if they smell sick...
they'll go towards that.
Right. And they'll try and figure out, is this an infectious thing, like I can't eat the meat? Because either way, you're sick, meaning you might contaminate all the food. I don't need all the food to not be edible. You need to go. Even if they don't eat you, you will still not be alive to see the sunrise tomorrow.
Yeah. Or they'll decide, oh, it's just that small bit that's bad? Great. Food for me.
Right. Again, right? Animals are not stupid. Animals are just... There's a reason for why they do certain things. So when you're like, well, cows avoid sick people, cows are a prey animal. Primarily a prey animal. They're not a predator. So when they smell something sick, they're taking it to the extreme of, well, it could infect us. It'll make all of us sick. So that's why they avoid you. They don't know any better. Whereas your cat, your dog, your raccoon, if that's what you have for some people.
Which then calls into question such validity of films like Maneater.
Oh, that's true. And again, right? And because when people try and tell me, well, cannibalism...
And Congo.
Congo? You mean...
You haven't seen Congo?
Cujo?
No, Congo.
Oh, no.
As in the Congo.
Oh, no, I haven't.
It's not a full horror film, but it kind of is. It's one of those that's kind of half classified.
Oh, nice.
There's also the Beast that came out like last year with the lion.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, that's right.
So the scientist has to go into the deep Congo, and they need her ape that she taught to speak with sign language, and she wears a translator. And she just so happens they're gonna possibly release her. So they go, and it ends up being that they're going on some kind of mission for a diamond, a very rare diamond deep in the Congo.
Why is it always diamonds?
And there's these man-eating, literal cannibalistic apes that are guarding it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they were going into the Congo for Starbucks, I mean, there's something wrong, probably.
Well, also another thing that I think people...
It's some kind of diamond mine that was abandoned, but could produce the largest diamonds that ever found.
That's dumb. But whatever.
That would be a really funny spoof, though. They're like Pokemon hunting. Pokemon Go. I gotta catch them all! The Congo.
Look at that Pokemon! I've never seen that one before!
Holy shit!
The graphics on this are getting...
so immersive.
Right? That's an actual monkey, dude. He's gonna fuck your world up. No, it's...
Hey, Tim!
That would have been a really funny...
Take the VR helmet off of me so you could try. Tim?
That would have been a really funny horror experience and everything if it was like... a couple of years ago when that Pokemon Go was a really, really big thing.
It's still kind of a big
Everybody
thing.
was doing it. Like, people were getting yelled at for walking and not paying attention where they were going.
It was to the point where it was like a hazard a couple of years ago.
Everybody wanted to be a Pokemon
during that
master.
time would have been
There were
hysterical.
mobs. There were fucking mobs in the city of people trying to catch a special Pokemon. You see 300 people in one little tiny fucking park that's not even a block long.
You wanna know what?
I shit you not, that shit caused a lot of fucking traffic.
It did.
A lot of traffic caused a lot of car accidents. Originally,
At the end of the
they didn't
movie,
have a speed limit thing on it, so you could be going 60 miles per hour and catch Pokemon.
That's true. Psycho?
At the end of the movie, they're like, "Hey, have you seen Carl?" Oh yeah, he got eaten like a couple miles back. Hey, do you want to go Naruto run at Area 51? Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I think to Requiem's point, the Congo, if that's the premise of the movie, I sometimes think people forget apes, right? Like monkeys and stuff, gorillas. Technically speaking, a gorilla, you have a higher chance of walking away from that experience because they don't tend to be aggressive. If you mind your shit, they will ignore you. Chimpanzees are aggressive. They'll find any excuse to beat you bloody.
And I wasn't kidding. Pokemon Go really did cause traffic jams in fucking New York City.
I know. That's why we made the joke.
You want to know what actually up where I was living when it was Pokemon Go?
I just put a picture and muted. That was when the rare Vaporeon fucking came into Central Park.
Oh no.
All fucking havoc.
And a back.
Hi, we were talking about Pokemon Go and how it caused so much problems in New York City.
I love
Wait, what?
Pokemon Go.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You have
Don't you
not
dare.
bombs, but
Actually,
traffic jam and havoc and absolute hell.
so when Pokemon Go was...
Dominism taking its course. Simple as that.
Yeah, actually, so when Pokemon
There has
Go...
been 134 incremental crashes from the playing of Pokemon Go,
That's so horrible. I feel like...
and
But what
31
about traffic
were
related too? Not necessarily because the driver or someone was playing.
says 134 incremental, and then personal injuries is 31. That's all it says.
So all of those probably involved two people actually playing. And they went, should we just
Yeah.
forget about this? Yeah, let's just forget about this.
Well, here, right?
Like you want to write? You want to fill out a police report
Or
about
with
this?
a taxi
No,
driver that was
I'm never
playing and
gonna
then
live this
they
down.
zoomed
You,
off.
not me.
Well, here, right? I remember when Pokemon Go was really big up here. I remember in our local park, I guess something happened and, like, everybody swarmed it. And me and my friend looked at each other, decided, yeah, no. We went the opposite way towards the subway, and I caught a shiny Primeape because it was just chilling.
Could you imagine if Pokemon Go became like a horror film?
Oh my god.
That's what I just said
I
that.
know.
Literally
but it
just
computed.
said
I'm
what? Now it's your
smoking and
idea,
it
huh?
computed.
Okay.
Now it's a good idea.
Okay.
No.
Now it's a good
Psycho,
idea.
Psycho. She
I've
has
been
a
smoking.
2-minute buffer right now. Okay, give her a moment.
Whoa,
It
that's
caught up to me.
ingenious. Why didn't I think
Why
of
do,
that?
you think, why do you think I paused and was like, oh shit, what did he say?
It caught
took
up.
a minute. I am the Internet Explorer of web browsers right now.
Oh,
Oh my god, Requiem, that was ingenious.
And,
I
and,
can't
and, that,
believe you
and
came
Internet
up with
Explorer
that
doesn't
alone.
exist anymore, by the way.
Requiem, what did you say that your Hogwarts house was again?
Slytherin.
So now we know all Slytherins are green because
I'm
they're
best
smoking the
friends
wacky
with
tobacco.
several Hufflepuffs.
Hey, I am a Hufflepuff. At least we're not high so high we don't hear what we're doing.
3 of my
Who do you
closest
think she
friends
got
are
it from?
Oh,
She got it from a Hufflepuff.
Requiem, look, it's a baby.
Closet door Hufflepuff.
It's a baby.
Requiem.
I'm engaged to a Slytherin, and all of
No.
our closest friends are fucking Hufflepuffs.
Don't judge us. We know how to get out of stuff. I got stuff if you want it.
Damn, I hit the head again.
Oh, you hit your head.
Yes, again.
Did you hit it on the couch?
Yes, my again.
Oh. So
Yeah,
you got to
5.
visit the hospital, right?
5 stitches later.
Go home.
Yeah, I know you're home now. But who put the stitches in?
Okay, she's talking to you. Yeah, doctor.
Different.
Who put the stitches in?
Yeah, doctor.
Dr. Breeze.
A doctor. Okay. Was he nice? No, all right. She ended that real quick.
Stop.
Did you play
Let go.
Pokemon Go?
She said,
And she
I'm
done.
not, I'm not gonna bad talk my doctor. Oof.
I'm not gonna say that Dr. Bray may not have bribed me with candy.
Oh, they didn't bother
I'm
with
not
candy.
a snitch.
Or painkillers. They started me early.
They started me early.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
yeah, I'm gonna cut the segment here though for my tea time, and we'll call it good.
Yeah.
Say bye, everybody. Bye.
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 Bye.